Welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter podcast, your number one source of all things bodybuilding. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes. Now, here's your host, Leroy Rollins.
All right, people, welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter podcast. I'm here with my man, Jack Thorburn from across the pond. Jack, introduce yourself to the people.
What's good? Jack Thorburn, blessed to be invited for a second appearance on the podcast. So just want to thank Leroy for having me on.
All right. So for those that don't know you, my man, give the people a little background on your bodybuilding journey thus far.
Okay, so I am a Welsh natural bodybuilder from Wales in the UK. Competed for the first time in 2016 as a junior, but it was my last year in junior, so first time I stepped on stage I was 22. So I wasn't really someone that rushed into it. It just sort of fell into place because of a love of training. So I'd been training for 8 years before going on, so about 8 years, 7-8 years before I even thought about going on stage. So competed in 16, did fairly well as a junior, won a couple of shows, got to sort of, it's the British final for us, so it would be the same as like nationals for you.
Yep.
And got the bug, so competed again in 17, back to back. But that year I was out of juniors, so in with the big boys. Certainly felt I held my own because I ended up winning two middleweight titles and then also an overall. And then same again, went to British finals, but came fourth. But I got bumped up into a heavyweight class when I was a middleweight, really. So the weigh-ins did me. I shouldn't have carved up so hard, but. Yeah, so that's me. I haven't competed for 2.5 years. Yep. So it's been a long sort of off season as it was. I copped a few, not like injuries, but I had a lot of things, physical things going on in the 17 prep.
Right.
That I potentially shouldn't have finished the prep with, but I did. And I needed to sort of use these 2 years that I've had off to get them all sorted. It's like a long story short, it's like a postural issue that I've had for a long time and just trained around it. And by training around it, it's just made it a lot worse. So yes, but like as we mentioned before we got on live, that things are taking a step forward. I am progressing. It's been a long road. Yeah. But certainly making some strides now. So the plan is have another year. I did mini cut in August, September, and I was fairly pleased with what came of that, which did tempt me with competing this year, I'm not going to lie. But I know for the greater cause, next year is the better option. So the goal is now sort of a little push-up again, now ready for 2021. So,
what did those postural issues stem from? Like, was it training that brought it on, or is it your skeleton? Like, where did it all come from?
It is a very simple thing. It started off with literally just tight hip flexors. All it is. But at the time, I didn't know about it. I was playing rugby at the time, and I was pulling my hamstring literally like every other game. I was seeing specialists about it. They all said it was my quad to hamstring ratio because obviously I'm very quad dominant.
Yeah. So
I did loads of loads of rehab work for it. Strength of my hamstrings, doubled the strength of my hamstrings in like 6 weeks. They couldn't believe it. And I go back and it happens again. So I didn't know back then what the issue was, but now fast forward like 5 years through me getting this issue, I've realised what was going on back then. So if I'd had it fixed back then, potentially it could have saved. Because what happened was, so I've got these tight hip flexors, not a massive issue, but over time it gets worse and worse. So it's obviously tugged on my posture at my hips a bit, and then that's cascaded up. Yeah. So if your hips are off, your shoulders are off, everything's off, and it's not really an issue if you get it sorted, but then also it becomes even more of an issue when you're a bodybuilder and you train like an idiot for 6+ years with it on top, so my body just doesn't work properly, essentially, because it was in the wrong positions. I was trying to work around it, but didn't know why, just because I'm a stubborn mofo. So,
aren't we all?
Yeah, so that's all it is, really.
Okay. So first off, the visual people are gonna have of you that don't know you, based on the thumbnail of this video, is you ridiculously shredded. Because I love when you share
Good
those.
choice.
I love when you share those photos. I always share them too because it is insane. So for me, as someone who loves it, and for the audience, like how'd you get there? Oh, we're good?
You good? Yeah, we're back on.
No,
Yeah,
we're
you
good.
just froze.
Okay, so if you missed that, those 2017 photos, how did you get to that? Because that's insane.
How long was my prep? So my prep, to be fair, I got pretty lean. I think for my first show it was 16 weeks out. I started dieting, so I had shredded glutes for my first show within 16 weeks. And then for some reason I always do an early qualifier, and then I end up qualifying for finals, which is 20 weeks away. And I'm not one for like reversing out to come back down. I just sort of stay there.
Right.
So staying shredded for like 20 weeks isn't too fun, but that's what sort of brought the crazy pictures towards the end of that prep then. So, like, to be fair, I was shredded for the first show.
Yeah.
But when you stay at a certain condition and body weight for a certain amount of time, like it brings a completely different look. So obviously, if you're coming down, your skin doesn't shrink around you to the same degree that you're dropping the body fat.
Right.
But by me being in that condition for so long, obviously the skin becomes like wrapped.
Yeah.
Which is why there were some of those crazy pictures, like of the side of the leg.
Yeah.
When it looked like it was ripping.
Yeah.
Just weird stuff like that. But when I'm talking about it now, you're making me want to diet again now. So
now, like at that stage, were your calories like ridiculously low and you doing like crazy amounts of cardio, or was it just like that's how your body would go?
I think people are gonna hate me for saying this now, but so the lowest my food went was 2,300, and that was before the first show because I had to push. I felt like I was up against time for that because I copped the injury a month out from that show. That's when they started flaring up.
Right.
So I felt like I was behind, so I pushed really hard. So 2,300 was the lowest it went. But what happened was, I was doing cardio every day for like only for 2 weeks. But that's because I thought I was behind, but I wasn't really. I just thought I was.
Right.
But then once I came out of that first show and I qualified, cardio went back down to 4 days a week. Didn't change then. Stayed, and I only do half an hour. So half an hour for 4 days a week. That was it. And then calories had to get bumped right up because I stayed on the same calories and I was training, and I could literally taste. I could taste like ammonia in my mouth, because what was happening was I was burning away muscle, like because I train pretty high volume, yeah. So I was still training really high volume, and I could literally feel myself sort of obviously flattening out, and my muscle was eating away. So my protein got bumped up to 400.
Wow.
My carbs were roughly 400 as well, I think, something like that. So I was nailing over 3,000 calories.
Wow.
Then for like the rest of prep. The rest of prep was like 3,000 the whole way, which is where that time period was where the magic bagels got introduced. So that was when everyone was like, "Oh, bagels are the trick to getting shredded." Yeah. I was like, "No, I was already shredded, and now I'm just eating a bagel because I want to." Yeah. But that's where the bagels got introduced. So I can remember my post-workout was ridiculous. I was having like 2 bagels, 100 grams of cream with rice, whey and chicken, like all in one meal, and I was shredded at the time. It just a bit ridiculous. But I got to put a disclaimer on that. So despite obviously my calories being high and cardio being very low, I was working in retail at the time, and I when I do a job, I work pretty hard. Like, I'm not someone that's gonna do it half-assed. So I'd work in retail, and I didn't have a step counter, but I was easily pushing. I must have been on like 25,000. I must have been, because I'd finish work and I could barely stand. Like, my legs would be like really bad, and then I had to go to the gym afterwards. Yeah. So I was putting in serious shifts. So I think that was probably what got me so lean. Which is going to be interesting now, come 21, because I'm not working in retail now. Yeah. So maybe I'll have to do a bit more cardio, but I'm sort of training to be a PE teacher now. So if I get into the job, then it's still a pretty active job. Yeah. When I do it properly, I'm like 12,000 steps. So it's not going as high, but it's a lot higher than, like, when I did my mini cut over summer. For the first half of it, I was doing like 4,000 steps a day. So that. Yeah. So there's plenty of room to push. It'll just be very interesting, because it's going to be a completely different scenario. So I'm willing to do whatever. So
cool. Looking forward to 2021, what do you plan to change or implement based on your 2017 prep?
Ooh. I think since that prep, I've started prioritizing carbs quite a bit. I used to always be I'm dieting, first thing that's going is the carbs. Yeah. And I used to always keep fats relatively high. In 2016, I prepped on full-blown keto for my first show. I did a 16-week keto, and it was literally 20 grams of carbs a day, and that was fiber. So that was just from veg. There was no direct sources, and I did that for 16 weeks. I was best condition in the show, but I looked like a marathon runner, which wasn't ideal. Which wasn't ideal because it wasn't a tested federation either. Right. So, shit. So I think prioritizing carbs, certainly. I'm going to certainly be doing that. So try and keep them as high as possible. Specifically, like, around training. Yep. I think I don't need to do loads of cardio. I just let the diet do most of it, just because I don't really think it takes away from my leg fullness too much, because I did cardio every day during my mini cut. Yep. Like, I was doing it I remember I did it every day, and I didn't lose my legs at all. So if I have to do it, I will, but it's not really an issue. But apart from that, I think it wouldn't really change much. It worked. I'd like to say that I train a bit lower volume, but it's not going to happen, because I say I'm going to, but I don't. Yeah. Maybe when I get into the full-time PE teaching, I may have to. Yeah. Just do the time, but I'm working pretty hard now, and I'm training as long as ever. So I always seem to find a way of just training a higher volume, but I think that's about it, really. I think I didn't really make too many mistakes during that prep, which I was really pleased about. Yeah. I made plenty in 16, but in 17, I think it went really smoothly, except obviously the sort of injury. Yeah. That I couldn't have done anything about that. But everything I could have done, I think I was pretty pleased with. So,
right on. Okay, so the people that follow you obviously know that you're a creature of habit. Let's put it like that. You're a man of routine. So for those that don't know Jack or don't follow Jack, if you hit him up on Instagram, which of course will be linked in the description of this YouTube video, you can guarantee that you're gonna see probably the same thing every single day. The only variance will be what he's training that day, but if you look a week at a time, it'll be the same again. So give the people listening or watching kind of a rundown of how much on point you are with that, because I think that when someone like myself, like I could say like, oh yeah, I'm competing and my days are consistent, but compared to you, man, like you're like to the minute almost. Like talk about that a little bit.
I think I've always been pretty routine, like even when I wasn't competing.
Right.
Pretty structured. I just find it so that it just takes away any thought or any like conscious effort. You know, I just do the same thing day in, day out. Granted, I think sometimes it causes more harm than good by the amount of stress I put myself under because of it. Like, for example, if I'm a gram of lettuce, I will go to the shop and get another head of lettuce just to top that gram up, which is a bit ridiculous because maybe if I tapped my scales or put it the Tupperware for a little bit, it would have gone over that gram anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm probably burning that gram of lettuce off by going to the shop to get it anyway.
Yeah.
So, but in my head, I'm happy. So I think what it's come from is when I used to prep. When I used to lie in bed at night going to sleep, I used to think, right, have you done everything in your power to be better today? Like, have you done everything you can, like, towards your goal? Have you done because if you have, then you can put your head to bed, like, and you can be happy with what you've done.
Yep.
Because it sort of stemmed from when I was going through a few injuries. I just said to myself, right, you can only do as much as you can do. The rest will take care of itself. So you just do what you can do. So I used to go to bed and think, right, I've done everything, no drama, which is why I can sleep amazingly because I know that I've done everything, like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and that's just sort of where it stems from, really. I am a very, I don't know, I do love a routine, as you can tell. But it just makes everything. And to be honest, I love my routine. Like, I love all my food. Like some people say, how can you eat the same food every day? It's because I love what I eat. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
Like I go into work and some people see my oats in my Tupperware and they're like, you have to eat that to be a bodybuilder. But I'm like,
it's so good.
I want to eat it. This is my favorite meal of the day. I'd rather eat this than any shit you're eating.
Yeah.
You know, but they can't comprehend that because it looks like cement to them. But oh well.
How's that ice cream sandwich protein, by the way?
I really like it, actually. Wait, let's see if we can whip it. Look at this. Right, I'm in a box room because, like, I can't afford to have a big luxury room. But right. You see that? We got a few more there. So at the moment, I'm packing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 tubs of protein in this room. So
I love it.
That's a few grand.
I love it. One thing you had said, I don't know if you'd mentioned it in a story or what, but you had mentioned that your food, your supplements and stuff, because I think someone had asked you about the money you spend on it, and you said that's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That's a non-negotiable for you. You'll spend the money on your food that you need, the supplements you need, the gym membership, all that kind of stuff. Just kind of touch on that, because I think that's something people like forget about, and it just goes down to how important this is to you, and I think that speaks to that for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier the other day. If I'm looking online at, because I love my shoes, and my clothes.
That's what other people will
see. So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh, can I justify buying that? Can I justify buying that? But then when I put in my supplement orders, I literally don't even. Yeah. I don't even fathom it. I just order it because it is what it is. I have to have it.
Yep.
For me to be the best bodybuilder I can be, I need to have it. I don't even question it.
Yep.
Food as well. Like, food is not even a thought. Like, because if I ever am short of money, which luckily at this point in time I never have been, but if I am, like, food will always be the priority, and then whatever else then. So it'd be like rent, food, that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, to me, I need food to bodybuild, and I need my supplements to bodybuild. So they are a given. Like, it doesn't even go through my mind how much it costs, because I'm gonna buy it anyway.
Yeah.
So provided that I'm earning enough for it, and I'm sure I always will be. Like, realistically, people say, "Oh, food's expensive." It's not really that expensive.
It's an excuse.
Those are the sort of they're the same people that are going out on the weekends and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they'll spend my food bill on a night out, kind of thing, you know. I don't really like go out for food and stuff like that, because for me to go out for food, it's a decent order. But like that would be like my meat order for the week, though. Do you know what I mean? So by me not going out for food, I have meat for a week. Yep. So, but then we talk about gym memberships. I've just bought another gym membership up here because I visited a new gym the other day, and it's incredible. So I cancelled my one from back home in my sort of hometown because I've moved like an hour away, and now I have two up here, and they're probably two of the best gyms in the country. So it's I'm pretty fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, you guys have quite the gyms over there. I must say, I'm a little jealous when I see your stories. That's for sure. Okay, so
well, how far are you away from? Is it Pure Fitness?
Yeah, I'm about.
Seen that, yeah. How far are you from there?
I'm about 3 hours, give or take.
Mm.
Not enough drive.
Sorry, not even I'm traveling that. So
yeah, that's make a little road trip on a weekend kind of deal, but not a regular trip for sure.
No.
So a couple of questions that were submitted. What are your thoughts on the current landscape in competitive bodybuilding? Obviously, at the amateur level, you see stuff, but I think they're probably more wanting to know your thoughts on the pro level in the world of bodybuilding right now.
Are we talking natural or enhanced?
Give me both.
Ooh, okay. Good. Even though I am a massive fan of both, I'm one of those people that just loves bodybuilding as a whole. I think if we're looking at sort of just bodybuilding in general, I think it's in a really good place at the moment. A couple of years ago, there was some doubts about the history of, like, sort of future of bodybuilding. Yep. Everyone said that classic physique and physique is going to take over. I think they've proved that now. There's not a chance that's going to happen. No. Because with where the sort of men's open is at, if we're looking at the top pedestal, it's so open at the moment with sort of obviously Phil and Sean not competing and stuff. It's so open. And I know there's talks of that, The Rock show. Yeah. You know, Dwayne Johnson. Like, the names that will put themselves in the hat for that just because of the prize money and stuff like that is huge. Like, for example, the Arnold Classic coming up now. Like, I'm so excited for that. The names in that are amazing. So I think it's come alive again. Bodybuilding certainly has. I think if you look down, though, I think it is being dulled down a little bit when you look at the other categories. There are a lot of pro cards being thrown out, and that applies to the men's open as well. Yep. There are plenty of pro cards being thrown out, and it doesn't mean as much. Not that I'm saying I wouldn't love to earn a pro card, do you know what I mean? But I think some people will take a pro card and they'll never do anything with that.
Yeah.
And then if you look at that from a natural perspective, I think natural bodybuilding is in a much better place than it was a few years ago as well.
Yeah, it's climbing.
A lot of people have no respect for natural bodybuilding, and a lot of people still don't. But the talent that natural bodybuilding has within it at the moment, especially over here, like absolutely crazy. When you look at, I think some of the juniors that are coming through are unbelievable, and it's really exciting to see what they'll do in a few years, which is why I don't really want to wait around, because I want to try and get a pro card when I can.
Yeah.
But if you look at, say, like if you compared, say, like 2-3 years ago compared to someone now, it's crazy.
Yeah.
There were times when you would have one teen in a show and maybe like a couple of juniors, that was it. And now you've got juniors winning the overall and stuff. So it's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
So I think both sides of bodybuilding are in a really good place at the moment. And I'm so really proud to say that I'm a bodybuilder, and it's still a very outsider sport though. When I say that I'm a bodybuilder in like work and stuff, I whisper like, but no one knows about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, unless you're into bodybuilding, you never look into it. So it's pretty crazy, really. But I wouldn't change it for the world. But no, bodybuilding's in a good place, and I'm very keen to see how the natural season unfolds this year. Because obviously I've got quite a few mates competing and stuff.
Yep.
Got a few clients and that as well. So it'd be I'm keen to see how it goes. Obviously, there's some big names that have taken a few years off. Obviously, one of my good mates, AJ, being one of them. So very keen to see how some of those lot do. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how he turns out, and if he gets what he wants and I get what I want. I hope to run into him in Miami. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, I think. Well, he's more likely going to be Boston or New York, isn't it? So.
Well, Worlds is in Miami, or Worlds is in Los Angeles. That's right, not Miami.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, it is this year, is it?
Yeah, it's in LA.
Nice.
Yeah, so
that'll be good.
That'd be super cool. Just the collection of people you'd get to meet would be so cool.
Yeah, that'll be the best bit. Just the fact that you've got everyone from around the world coming for it. That'll be really good.
Yeah.
But that will be a goal of mine come 2021, hopefully. So we shall see.
Touch on that a little bit. What is the career of Jack Thorburn look like in bodybuilding? What do you want to happen?
When I first competed in 16, and got the bug. I said to myself, I want to turn pro, and then once I do something with it. So I actually want to place well in pro shows. And I feel I can do it. Especially once I get all these little niggles sorted. I've got no, 100% do it. But just making sure I get those sorted. So just time will tell now, really. Obviously, I'm Mr. Routine. I'm in it for the long run. I don't get bored. I do the same thing over and over again, what's required. So it's never going to be a matter of me burning out or stuff like that, or giving up, because trust me, I'd have given up in the past 2 years, because I went through some rough times. I would have given up then if I was ever going to give up. So so that's the plan, hopefully. How I'll get a pro card, if I do, I'm not planning that far ahead or tactically trying to do it.
Yep.
I'll just do what I can. So
that's awesome. Cool. Okay, next question I had for you, it was kind of touching on your routine, and it's little things that you do with your life, with your diet, with whatever, like little things that you do maybe that most other bodybuilders don't. And they had in brackets apple cider vinegar, pre-bed ritual, like that kind of stuff. What are some little things that you do that maybe are, you know, you've kind of picked out over the years?
Obviously the big one for me is the whole fasted cardio thing.
People hate that.
At like stupid o'clock in the morning, I cop some flack for it, but reasoning behind it is I do think fasted cardio is better. And also I couldn't imagine doing cardio after eating food. I much prefer doing it when I'm like empty. And for me to do it fasted, I need to, because obviously with work and stuff like that, like sometimes I need to be in work at like 7 o'clock. So for me to have done that, prep my meals, I need to have done it at a pretty early time. So that's why I do that. It's not to be like, oh, look at me. It's because I have to do it at that time.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows me as Mr. Protein, high protein diet. I think it's something I've always done. So literally before I even tracked sort of calories, macros or anything, I've always had quite a high protein diet. But I think a lot of people just underdo their protein anyway. So I've always been high protein. For me, it's actually fairly low at the moment. So it's like 330. But for me, that's low.
Yeah.
When it used to be 380, and when I dropped it, I actually felt really guilty. I was like, you're going against everything you believe in. So those are the two main ones. Other routines that I got.
Do you pose every day?
Cool. Not as religiously as I used to. When I prep, I'm really bad. So like, I'll be like, I have to do half an hour in the morning, whether I'm late for work or not. I have to do that half an hour. But I sort of do, because I've got this like.
Yeah.
Don't judge me on this room. It's because the stuff's on my bed because I haven't got enough room to put it anywhere. So it's on my bed for now, and then when I go to sleep, it gets chucked down there. I'm actually a really tidy person. It's just in this room. It's tiny. I've got no room for everything. So I do a bit of posing in that mirror.
Yeah.
But like 1 or 2 times a day, only for like. It's like 3 minutes at a time. It's just how long it takes me to go through all the mandatories.
Yep.
Yeah, I do that. It's quite favourable lighting. So then I think obviously just the whole routine thing. I do the same thing at the same time every day. So always prep my meals in the morning. I always I'll do it in exactly the same order as well. I'll put the seasonings on in exactly the same order. Just stuff like that. It's really weird. But, and it also takes me 25 minutes to make a bowl of oats. So that's another one.
Fair enough. Next one for you. What are your thoughts on I guess like determining when someone should compete? So they kind of asked about, playing the game of trying to gain some size, right? Whether you're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, trying to gain size, or, do you jump into a teen class if you're 18 and you look okay? Like when do you make that judgment call? For yourself, what was your mindset? And then if you have people coming to you as a coach-client relationship, what do you base your decision off of?
I think it's quite tough because when I didn't compete until I was 22. I had no desire to. I think the issue with a lot of people now is they are training to compete.
Yeah.
So the reason why they go to the gym is with a goal to compete, or their goal is to someday get on stage. Whereas with me, it was the other way around. So I competed because I trained. Like, I got talked into competing
Right.
because of I looked like I should compete. I think the previous can cause bad relationships and stuff like that. But I can't really comment on teen bodybuilding because I have 2 lads this year that are teens
Right.
that are competing, and they are fantastic. So I can't really bash that, but I can see it from an experience standpoint.
Yeah.
It will put you in really good stead.
Yep.
By making mistakes, etc. But I think you are missing out on valuable years of training. Like, when I was that age, I could do anything. Like,
Yeah.
nothing would hurt me.
No.
When I was like 17, 18, like, I could squat 200, no issues, jump around the place, fucking deadlift a house.
Yeah.
And I'm only 25, but I'm talking like I'm an old man. But I could do anything back then. And I probably put on most of my muscle during that time. So I think you are taken away from that. And also, like, naturally as well, competing isn't healthy. I hate to think what my test levels were, because I know from the way they felt for months after, they were horrendous. So I think you doing that at a young age isn't ideal.
Right.
Especially if you really get lean as a teen, because a lot of them don't.
Yep.
Which is understandable because it's very hard to. But I think it can take away some valuable years of growing, especially if you get the bug.
Yeah.
Like, one of my clients is competing back-to-back years as a teen. So, but he's grown like a weed in a couple of months of off season. So he must be doing something all right. But I think ultimately, if you enjoy it, who cares? You know, you're doing what you want to do.
Yep.
So just compete. Everyone always says, "Oh, you shouldn't compete this. You should." If you want to compete, compete. You know, you can make progress in between seasons. It's not optimal, but you can do it. And if you enjoy doing it, like, who cares? You know, because how do you, like, I know this is quite cynical and quite dark to say it, but you might wait around all your life to compete, and then you step out your house one day and get hit by a car.
Yeah.
And you've never done it. Do you know what I mean? Or you might get injured and then you can't do it.
Yep.
So if you want to do it, just do it. Just make sure that you are happy with how you look before it, because if you're doing it to please other people, or you're not 100% in it, it might either put you off forever, or it might sort of cause bad relationships with other people, or eating disorders, etc.
Yep.
So, because like, I really don't like see. There's a lot of people now that sort of come out and say, "Oh, I have no intentions of ever competing again. I'm just training because I enjoy training. Competing was a bad thing for me." But you know, the competition side wasn't the bad thing. It was you. Like, you obviously weren't ready for it, or you did something wrong that caused that bad relationship. The competition hasn't done anything. But I see a lot of people bashing the whole competitive side, but really it stems from them not either wanting it or being in a good position to do it. So, long story short, if you do want to compete, do it, but just make sure you're either ready for the consequences or you feel you're ready to do it. So I think that's the long story short.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, right? And it comes down to having the knowledge and doing the research and you know, stuff like this, right? Getting people with experience to talk about it, right? Like, you know, when I first started, it wasn't as public to know about this kind of stuff, right? But now, I mean, you can find information everywhere, right? So if you're
exactly, that's the thing. Info is everywhere.
Yeah, and if you're 18 and you're like toying with the idea, like you said, understand, okay, why are you doing this? Are you trying to do it for a little bit of Insta fame? Are you doing it because you genuinely love bodybuilding and you have a passion for it? And then start to ask questions about how it's done. What are the consequences? Because you and I can both test to it's not always sunshine and rainbows and shredded glutes, right? Yeah, no.
No, that's the thing. There is so much information out there now, which is it's a massive positive. Because even when I competed in 16, there wasn't half the information out there, especially from a natural perspective as well. I think that's come on a lot, and there are a lot of people we have to thank for that are putting out great content and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
No,
man, I agree. We'll call this the last question of the podcast, because we've been going a good chunk of time now. What's your closing, I guess, advice that you can share with maybe someone younger watching this, or someone maybe just wanting to get into bodybuilding, like over your years of experience, which is really a very short amount of time compared to others, but like, you've accomplished some stuff, you've learned a lot, you obviously know a lot.
Yeah, I'll add into that, like my competitive years, yes, but realistically, I've been training for 11 years.
Exactly.
And during that time, my eating's been pretty similar. So which leads on to my answer of what I was going to give. And it's basically like, you've got to fall in love with bodybuilding. You just have to fall in love with every aspect of it. Like, I actually quite enjoy the fact that I'm a bit of a hermit and that I don't go out all the time. I'm not socializing all the time. I get a little bit of enjoyment out of that, because I know that it's... I don't want to say to people, become a recluse and don't enjoy yourself. Like, I don't want to encourage that.
Yeah.
But there is an element of that, and you've got to fall in love with just bettering yourself.
Yep.
Just learn to love every aspect of bodybuilding. Like, training, it's easy. The nutrition, you've got to fall in love with, like, the routine of it. Because ultimately, if you don't love it, you're not going to stick to it.
Yep.
The reason why I stick to it is because I love every aspect of it. And I know everyone always says it, but you can't really compare yourself to others. It's just a self-betterment all the time. And as long as you're doing that, that's all you can ask for. So, fall in love with bodybuilding, fall in love with the process of bettering yourself, and if you do that, you will achieve. And you can, like I said at the start, you can put your head on the pillow at night and think you've done everything you can. And just enjoy it, really, because if you're not going to enjoy it, why the fuck are you doing it? Because life's too short to be pursuing something you don't really enjoy. So,
especially something like bodybuilding that takes a long time to usually get what you want out of it, right?
And costs a lot of money too, but
he's thousands of dollars in supplements. Of course, it costs money.
I people walk past my room every day, and they're staring, and I'm like, "What the f are you looking at?" Like, I'm gonna go, and I think, "All right, it's because I got a few £1,000 in my suit, like on the front there." But
awesome.
I have to have some variety. That's how I can do what I can do. I couldn't have like one tub of protein open at a time. I couldn't do that. So I always keep like overstock so I can have a variety every day. So.
Awesome. All right, people. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode with Mr. Jack Thorburn. Be sure to give him a follow. Like I said, his Instagram's linked below, and you'll see lots of routine, but you'll see a man that loves what he does.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on as well.
All right, people. Thanks again. Subscribe to the channel. Be sure to stay up with these podcasts every week, and we'll see you guys in the next one.